Hi, welcome back to BRMC's Healthy Connections. Jodi, tell us about Spotlight on Diabetes. I don't want to run out of time today. We want to be sure and get to that. Tell us what's going on.
Well, we have a great program coming up. It's going to be held on March 7th.
Okay.
It's going to be out at the fairgrounds right here in Baxter County. It's our free all-day program. We're going to have education. I'm going to have some special guest speakers. Going to have obviously a healthy lunch and nutritious provided by Miss Jan, and some healthy snacks. There'll also be several vendors from local areas and also some nationally branded vendors, which I think is really exciting for a lot of folks that maybe don't get an opportunity to visit with some of the bigger companies and understand maybe a little bit better, because I try so hard to keep up, but these vendors and folks that come in from these national companies do such a great job of explaining to the patients different options on maybe their meter, if they weren't knowing exactly what to do or how their meter would work, and just some different opportunities that they might be able to have just to help with their management, with their everyday, day-to-day. So that's pretty exciting. And we have got some really fun, and we try to make it entertaining. We hope it's entertaining. We usually,
it has been every other year. I can't imagine that this year won't be the same.
A lot of fun, a lot of laughs, and it's a little bit different than some of the other health fairs or health forums, because we do try to bring a little humor and some smiles and some skits and different things that may be a little bit different minded. We are excited this year. Jan, of course, is going to be there to talk about food and nutrition and do some different things. Sherry Smith, our clinical consultant, she's a nurse, a certified diabetes educator. She's going to be on hand. Mike Rechtenwald.
I was just going to ask if Mike was going to be there. What a wonderful
one of our favorite pharmacists. He's going to come down. He's going to do a whole segment on some of the newer medications. He'll probably also do probably talk about supplements. There's always a lot of questions, and people have a lot of questions about if a supplement is needed and what's appropriate and what's going to help them be the most beneficial.
There's nobody more knowledgeable than Mike.
Oh, I'm telling you, and he's such a great. He shares and he really tells you like it is, and I think everybody really appreciates that. And this year's one of our different things this year is we're actually going to have a physician speaking, and I'm excited. Dr. Wilbur is coming to visit with us, and he currently has retired, and most of everybody around here knows he does work at the Christian Clinic, but he has agreed to come and share some of his, and we're going to call it the old versus the new, and some of the things that are up and coming, but also just getting back to some of the basics and some of the things that have worked for years. And as we were talking earlier, the four mainstays in diabetes.
Yeah, I forgot that on that stool. I only had 3 legs.
That's okay. Everybody always forgets about activities.
Activities, of course.
Nobody wants to talk about exercise.
I had one of the, it must be, that milking days or something, that 3-legged
stool. That's it. But I think it's going to be really exciting and great for folks to have just a sounding board of different disciplines and different healthcare professionals to ask questions to maybe bring something new to the table. There are some new things coming down the pipeline and coming out. Sherry's going to be on hand to share some things about some new technologies there. So we just encourage anybody, whether you have type 1 or type 2 diabetes and you're curious, you have questions, you know a neighbor down the street that has diabetes and you want to get them a little more involved, and you don't want to be the diabetes police, but it's a great way to get some awareness out also, and we're open to, like I said, the support person and the family member coming. It's all absolutely free.
That's wonderful. The whole thing is free. And
yes.
Now, do they need to call for reservations?
We do ask that you
know
call.
How many for lunch?
Sure. Just give us your name and your phone number, so we can confirm with you at a little bit closer date that you're still going to be able to come. But yeah, just give us a call and register there at the center. It's 508-1765 is our phone number. And we'll get you signed up. I've already got several on the list, and we're looking for more. we've got room for 500, so I say
that's great.
come out, everybody. And if you know somebody, or if you have maybe a family member that you want to bring along too, that's
Sure.
absolutely fine.
I was thinking now I'd like to go this year, especially create some time and go down. My niece, it's actually my great niece, has juvenile diabetes, and now my great nephew also has been diagnosed. So there's definitely genetically something's going on there, and I don't know that much about it. I know a little bit, as they say, enough to be dangerous kind of thing, and I'm looking forward to finding out about what myths that are going to be dispelled, what we think we know, and what's real.
Sure.
So things like that.
Well, and I think there are so many, with all the media coverage, and I oftentimes tell folks, diabetes is everywhere. It is, unfortunately, it's affecting about 26 million people in the United States alone. So when you think about that, and you would appreciate this from a marketing standpoint, there are so many advertisements and so many folks that get the wrong information due to an advertisement. And so we ask you, call us up, come to the Spotlight program, come in and ask those questions.
Get yourself informed.
Or get the
educated.
information that you're not sure of and bring it to us. I have people that bring me different things all the time, wondering, and I love it because it challenges me as well to find out, what's going on and what's out there. And
they're wondering, how could they print it if it wasn't true? Believe me.
Well, and not only that, but there are just so many options now.
Yeah.
We think about years ago, and I grew up with an insulin-dependent grandfather, and there was a vial of insulin and an old-fashioned syringe, and for heaven's sakes, we had the insulin had to be mixed, and that was many moons ago, and
now
lots
they come
has changed.
pre-mixed.
There's premixes, there's pens, there are pumps, there are so many different options
They
available.
come out with a wrist. They were going to come out with something for your wrist.
They did, and then that quickly went away because it just wasn't as accurate. But there are some different things. There are some new sensors out now that test different levels of sugars and different things. And so there's just a whole arsenal of things out there and that are available for folks. And a lot of times I think the scare tactics and the scare factors of the insulins and the needles and things like that are quickly dispelled when you show a person how small the needle is anymore, or how unintimidating it can be when I can sit in front of a person and just give myself a shot, and it is not nearly as scary or
as it once was.
Yeah, and I think people are oftentimes surprised at how much they do know, and people amaze me. My patients amaze me every day. They just bring me so much information from their day-to-day living, and I try to pass that on as, try this really works well for some people, and
so a real
try
resource
that,
center
and
for other patients.
Sure, and just, slapping back different ideas and having different thoughts and playing around with stuff, and Jan will tell you, play with your food. It's okay to play with your food, because it is, and that's what it's about, is finding that happy medium, and living a healthy life, but also living a good life.
Living a good life, right.
And that's why, we have coined it this year. Our theme is, it's all about you, and we mean you as the patient, even you as the family member or the friend. We're going to have a little bit of information there as well, and just come out and see what new things that are going on in 2012 as far as diabetes care goes. And we always we have a great time.
I love that you get the national vendors in too.
Yeah,
it's real important.
It's nice
for everyone to have options to choose.
Sure.
So, on the insulin pumps, is that for anyone in particular? I've always connected it with very athletic people.
Okay.
But I don't know who would best benefit from an insulin pump.
We're actually seeing insulin pumps being utilized in this community across the board. Anyone that has what they call an intense insulin regimen, which means they give themselves multiple injections a day, would be a candidate for an insulin pump. That being said, it is a commitment on the patient's part. Obviously, financially, there is a financial cost, which most insurances are very good about helping with that, but also about learning how to calculate and count their carbohydrates very carefully.
So there's some calibration to be done.
And also how to calculate and correct their blood sugars to go along with that. And so and we oftentimes say you're only as smart as your pump, but also the pump is only as smart as you tell it to be. And so there's
you have that as part of your classes as well?
Sure. We do talk about the pump. I show folks in my classes the pump. We have individual sessions set aside for people who are have been referred by their doctor. And obviously this is a question, if there is a question, to ask the physician. Do you think that I could benefit from a pump? Do you think that I would be able to better manage my diabetes, my blood sugar levels with a pump? Right. So it's a delicate balance, but it's such a wonderful thing. And we see, you're right, we see a lot of athletes utilizing the pumps. We see
it just gives them so much more freedom.
Sure, and we see a lot of younger children, because with type 1 diabetes, which oftentimes affects our younger population and our under 20 population, if you will, that they do have to rely on 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 shots of insulin a day, and that takes that whole dynamic down to one shot, if you will, or one poke with a needle about every 3 days. And that's just a beautiful thing, and I think a lot of kids and even their parents are finding that it's a great tool to use, and it's not limited to type 1 diabetes. We also have some type 2 folks that are just up and coming and really go-getters, and they do a great job with their management. So, you know, if you have questions,
I know, it's over at Reppell.
It is. It's excellent. So,
well, before we go today, Jodi, please once again tell folks about Spotlight on Diabetes, the date, time, how they can get a hold of you.
Call us up at 508-1765 and register for the annual Spotlight on Diabetes. It's going to be coming up on March 7th over at the Baxter County Fairgrounds. And the doors open at 9 a.m., so we hope to see you there.
All right. Jodi, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We sure appreciate it. And thank you for joining us for BRMC's Healthy Connections. We'll see you again next time. Thanks.